Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. This evening we're going to begin chapter 4 on page 51. Let's all recite together. Hari Om. Vibrad Vihat Vipatu Somyam. Vabayudhyadhyadya. Vaphavatava Vyutam. Bhatajoto Yuro Abhirakshati Manapraja Uposha Puruda Virajati Udutyam Jat Vedatam Devam Vahantiketava Visve Vishvaya Suryam Yena Bhavaka Jakshasa Purantam Yang Tam Jananganu Twambarna Pashyasi Devayat Varyu Agatam Yatina Duryat Vacham Madhva Yagyam Samanchate Tam Pragnata Yam Venishchitram Devanam Tam Pragnata Purvatam Vishwatem Atha Jeshtatam Hitam Parshi Satvam Sparhidam Pratichinam Prajanam Dohase Duni Manshu Tayantamanu Yasu Vardase Ayam Vinascho Doika Prishnir Garbajotir Jarayu Rajaso Vimane Imamapam Sangame Surgasya Shishuna Bipramati Vibriyante Chitram Devanam Rudagan Nidanikan Chakshu Mitrasya Varanashyane Aprabhya Papritivi Antariksham Surya Atman Jagata Shirshascha Anagita Bir Vidate Shishasti Vishwanaraka Savita Deva Ketu Apiyataha Yubanomat Satahano Vishwan Jagadami Tikve Manisha Yadyapya Racha Britahanu Daga Abhisurga Sarvantavindra Devashe Taranir Vishwanashato Jyotish Krishna Disasriga Vishwamapasi Rochana Tatsuryasya Devatam Tanyam Mihamakatam Madhyakartoti Tam Sanjabara Yadeta Yukta Korita Sadastradra Prutri Siva Asedinunda Sevasmi Tamitrasya Barunasya Chak Vichakshe Suryorupam Prinote Turupaste Anamanta Mantrusha Dasya Prachaka Krishna Dvarita Sangbaranti Mahangasi Suryavada Vidya Mahangasi Mahate Sato Mahima Panasyate Deva Mahangasi Vatsuryasya Srava Mahangasi Satra Deva Mahangasi Manadeva Namasurya Purohito Vibu Jyotiradabhyam Srayanta Kiva Suryam Vishwe Indra Vakshata Vasuni Jate Jatamana Ojasa Pratibhagan Hati Diman Adya Deva Udita Suryasa Nirangasa Pipitra Niravidya Tanomidro Varuno Mahantamaditi Sindhu Prithvi Uttadhyao Akrishnina Rajasa Vatmano Nivesanamritam Mayancha Hiranyagina Savitaratena Devo Yati Bhuvanani Pashyan Yati Chaturtho Adhyayam. Let's return to page 51. Om, praise to Om. We offer this sweet libation of the nectar of immortal devotion to the Lord of the vast, the light of wisdom to drink. He inspires the Lord of emancipation and protects and nourishes all the children of the kingdom which he rules. Now we're saying, Shiva, you're like Surya, the sun. You're like the light of wisdom. You're the warmth of devotion. You inspire the wind who is emancipated. No one checks the wind. No one tells the wind where he may blow or not, or when he may blow. He's the Lord of emancipation, and he's inspired by the nectar of devotion that the devotees are offering. The sun is the light of wisdom, knower of all, omnipresent, the God who illuminates all the universe with perception. With the same perception of a guardian king looking at his people, O Lord of equilibrium, with that same perception, look at us. Hey, Lord of equilibrium, you are the guardian king, look at us. In the same perception as you would look at all your people. We're yours too. Hey, divine priests of the Ajurveda, Ashwins, come to the sacrifice on your chariots as bright as the sun, and accept our offerings moistened with honey. Among the gods, you are extremely ancient. May humanity gain your wisdom. Ashwin gods, you are so knowledgeable, and you are ancient. You're amongst the original gods. Please, can humanity have the wisdom that you shone with? Oh Lord, we are offering you the nectar of our devotion in the sacrificial fire, just like the ancient sages and seers of antiquity. It's just how they did it. They offered the nectar of devotion, and we're doing the same thing. So we assume that as you did for them, so you will do for us, because you're such a fair and just and loving God. Give us the fruit of our sacrificial offering just as you gave to them. We are singing your praises so that you will remove from us all obstacles as you did for those of ancient times. So in the olden days, the gods, the rishis, the munis all offered their devotion, the nectar of loving devotion in the sacrifice, and you removed from them all obstacles, and now we're singing the same mantras, offering the same oblations, giving the same attentive, loving, joyous form of worship. And there's no reason that you won't do for us as you did for them. Is there? And if there is, please tell us what it is, and we'll correct that too. Oh Lord, you inspired the creation with the rise of your light, radiating from various conveyances. You radiate, the aura of your light is just radiating into many, many rays. We see the lightning of illumination, the moon of devotion, the light of wisdom, illuminating existence in union with you, just like a young student with his teacher. So here you come, you are light, you are the illuminator, you come in the morning sun, you come as a lightning bolt, you come with the illumination of the moon reflecting your light, you have so many conveyances, you are the light of wisdom, and you illuminate all existence in union. Just like a young student with his teacher, following his teacher through the maze of life. O light of wisdom, established as the soul of all perceivable existence. Hey, your light isn't only the light of the heavens, but it's the light of the soul as well. All the lights come from the one light. You are that light. Established as the soul of all perceivable existence, you dwell above the earth, the atmosphere, and the heavens in various forms of divinity as the eyes of friendship, the Lord of equilibrium, and the fire of purification. Wherever there's light, my friends illuminate my heart. Equilibrium illuminates my every action when I'm in balance and poised and centered. From that center we act. And the fire of purification that that purifies all of our impurities. O God Savitur, light of the heavens, who brings welfare to the universe, come, full of our praises, into the era. Enter into the house of sacrifice. Hey, oldest of the gods, in the same form as you delight me when you come, in that same form delight the entire perceivable universe by giving us pure knowledge. So I'm inhaling the light, and I'm allowing that light to circulate through my entire circulatory system, permeating all the chakras, coming in from the era, and then moving down just through and awakening and illuminating that Kundalini Shakti, and letting that Shakti rise up and illuminating the entire being of this individual. In the same way as you delight me, in that same form, delight the entire perceivable universe and give us all pure knowledge. That's our prayer. Give everyone pure knowledge. That includes me. Give all pure knowledge. O eternal Son, the light of wisdom who destroys all darkness, today, wherever you may rise, bring all under your control, because you are the controller of all. You have that light, you have that wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have the devotion, and wherever you rise, wherever your light shines, bring all under your control. Because let everybody be controlled by wisdom. Let everyone be controlled by devotion. Let everybody be controlled by purity. You are the controller of all. Illuminate us all, wherever we may be, wherever your light may shine. Hey, Son, you are the illuminator of the light of the universe. The universe is illuminated in your light. You traverse the heavens and make the universe perceivable. Oh, God's Son, you have such greatness and authority that you can withdraw your light even in the midst of the world's activity. When your golden orb sets into the horizon, then all creation is thrust into darkness. And don't eclipse our wisdom, please. Don't allow our wisdom to be thrust into darkness or our activity to remain incomplete. Illuminate all of our activity. Illuminate all the activity and keep us from the darkness. O Son, you are the light in the eyes of Mitra and Varuna. And those are two of the gods. Mitra is the Lord of friendship. And Varuna is the Lord of waters, the Lord of equilibrium, of balance. You've never seen waters out of balance. All waters will always seek its own level. It's always level. It's always in equilibrium. It's always in balance. And Varuna's quality is balance. You are the eyes, you are the light in the eyes of the gods, and illuminate all the activities of heaven. Sometimes you are seen illuminating the infinite. Sometimes you are seen covering all existence with darkness. That is the absence of light. When you move away, we see the effect of your power. If your presence illuminates all activity, your absence brings on the darkness. O Son, you are great. O omnipresent, one without a second, you are great. In truth, you are great. All the worlds proclaim your glory. You are great indeed. O Son, yours is the true wealth. You are great. Yours is the true fame. You are great. Oh God, your greatness is most excellent among the gods, and you make the sacred offering of light to all creation. And this greatness is Mahan. You're a Mahan. You are just great, excellent, unfathomable. You're wonderful. You're really a cool dude. You're great. So you make the sacred offering of light to all creation, and that's your gift. That's your sacred offering. You illuminate creation. Because of the sun, Indra causes the rain to fall. If the sun didn't bring the rain to heaven, Indra wouldn't send it back to the earth, which nourishes all life with food. As children nourished by that food, it is necessary to plant the seeds of that wealth for future generations. So here, son, we are nourished by the food that you send to us. You send us the light of wisdom, and we are nourished by that wisdom. And as children who are receiving that nourishment, it is our duty to plant the seeds so that the next generation, that's Angel and that's Sam, that's Janardhan and that's Shasha, they'll all be able to harvest good crops, excellent grains. They'll all have because we are planting the seeds of that wealth for the future generations. Just by studying these words, just by having this satsang. Hey, all gods and goddesses, turn us away from sin. Remove all confusion, all evil. May today's sunrise make us pure. May Mitra, Varuna, mother of the gods, Aditi, the rivers, earth, and heaven help us to fulfill our promise. Hey, whatever our sankalpa may be, may all forces of nature please come and protect that promise. Assist us, aid and abet in fulfilling the purity of our promise. The golden orb mounted on his chariot, the God who shines with wisdom, traverses the universe bringing light and then darkness, distinguishing the divine from the mortal. He is the God who perceives all existence. And thus ends the 4th chapter. Do we have any questions, please?
Yes, Swamiji, a question from Kumari and in Vallejo.
Yes?
Can Swamiji comment again on what is Soma?
Yes, Soma is the nectar of devotion. The Soma Ras, the nectar of the devotion. It's an offering from the devotees that's made into the sacrificial fire, and it's made with the sacrificial fire. It's often pressed out with the pressing stones as you would grind or press in the pranayam from your abdomen and make the mantras flow through your body. It is the offering of the nectar of devotion with pranayam.
Swamiji, a question from Goody, who's with Nilima in Delhi.
Namaste, Goody.
And Goody says, Namaste Swamiji and Ma. What is the significance of the swastika?
Swastika it comes from swa asti. Being is my own. And the swastika, it says the highest blessing, the highest wealth is swa asti. I am my own person. So it is the symbol for Lakshmi, for the gold, for wealth, for the true wealth, that I am my own person, I am my own being. Swa asti. I am my own. I am God. I am divine. I like me. And that's what the swastika means, Kuti.
Swamiji, a question from previous classes and chapters from Vitala Swamiji.
Yes?
Another question was on animal sacrifice. It brought to his mind this question. On Kali Puja, we sacrifice a gourd and there are sattvic replacements for the Panchamaka. What are the replacements for the animal sacrifices for Shiva and what is the Padoti?
Shiva doesn't get an animal sacrifice. He gets the sacrifice of our animalistic natures. We don't make an offering of any animal to Shiva. We make the offering of our own egotism and attachment. And that is the animal sacrifice for Shiva. The Padoti is written, we have many forms of the Padoti. We can use the one that's written in the Kali Puja. There is an offering for our animalistic nature.
Swamiji, a question from Barbara from New Zealand.
Namaste, Barbara.
I find it hard to put my full heart into praising Indra after hearing so many stories of how he tried to obstruct the version of certain sages. Can you help me understand this better?
Yes, Barbara, Indra means to rule. He's the ruler. And in the Vedic literature, he's the ruler of the gods. And he's the ruler of the gods means he's the ruler of all the shining, illuminated beings who are the purest qualities and characteristics that we can describe about God. So now here, Indra is the ruler of the pure. And he's putting obstacles in the way of others who would want to take over the mind. He wants to say, look, the mind is filled with divinity. It's ruled by divinity. And if anyone wants to come into the mind and take away our thoughts for any other purpose, we're not interested. We're not going to entertain any other thoughts. So I'm going to put obstacles in the way of people that are striving to attain to heaven because they're going to bring all their own baggage into heaven. They're coming to heaven from an egotistical position, not because they love us so much, but because they want to rule the heavens. They want to rule the mind. They want to rule all the thoughts. So therefore, Indra is placing obstacles. Now, in the Puranic literature, Barbara, he became even more devious. But in the Vedic literature, his only motivation in putting any obstacle in anyone's way was to maintain the sanctity of heaven, the purity of our mind.
Question from Papia Roy from Pennsylvania.
Namaste, Papia.
This is on chapter 2, Swamiji.
Yes.
The full, complete and perfect consciousness alone has given birth to all that has become and all that will become. This is a verse from chapter 2. In the list of things he created, only the sun, moon, fire and wind are mentioned. What is the relation of gods with this being? Of the other gods?
Yes. In verse number 20, Papia, it says, we continually bow with respect to that illuminated supreme divinity who took birth before the gods. So here we see, this is not a creation hymn. The creation hymn is the 10th hymn, the 10th mandala and the 125th hymn of the Rig Veda, is the famous hymn of creation. How that Purusha, that supreme being was one and he became many. This is the Purusha Shukta, and he talks about he enters all the souls in the womb, he enters all the beings so that the eternal principles of Dharma can be shared, demonstrated. His mind gave birth to the moon, his eyes gave birth to the sun, from his ears came the breath, and his breath came the wind, and his mouth the fire. So here the gods are taking birth from him. And then he is, in verse 20, the Purusha who took birth before the gods. So all the elements of existence came forth from him. If you look in verse 12, his mind gave birth to Chandra, his eyes gave birth to Surya, his ears and breath gave birth to Vayu, and his mouth came Agni. He is giving birth to the gods, and he is before them.
Swamiji, Kumari from Vallejo has a very interesting question.
Certainly.
She talks about the light of wisdom. Is the light of wisdom the physical sun, or is it some subtle layer of the sun, or is it just symbolic?
All three, Kumari. This scripture and every pod of Sanskrit, every syllable of Sanskrit has relevance on three levels of meaning. On the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. So here we have the sun is the illuminator of the heavens, and it's a physical illumination. You can perceive it through the senses. It has pratyaksha. You can verify it through your senses. It is also the symbol, and what was the third?
The symbolic, the sun, actual sun, or a layer of the sun.
No, it's the symbol for wisdom everywhere, for illumination everywhere. So it's true in the gross body, and the subtle body, and the causal body. On all three levels, this is true. So you can't just read it as a physical history. That's how the early commentators that came from Britain, they didn't understand the meanings, the intrinsic meanings of the Veda, because they only read it on one level. And in order for us to understand it, we have to read it on all three levels, or all 7 levels at one time. So the answer is all of the above.
Swamiji, another question from Papia. It's about animalistic nature in us. The greatest sacrifice, if I understand correctly, is to bind one's animalistic nature and ego, which leads us to live in the abode of the gods. But to go beyond, to be one with perfect consciousness, what else must we sacrifice?
Everything, all of duality. Because in oneness, there is no second. So there can't be not only the egotism of ego, I, and my attachments, but in order to unite, there's only we. There's only one. There can't be any concept of duality. And that is samadhi. There is no concept of a dvitiyam ma na mama para. There is no second one beyond me. Ekoivaham jagat yatra. I am the only one in this whole entire perceivable universe. And dvitiyam na mama para. There is not a second one. Now that's a big sacrifice. Now the way we get there, Papia, is to become so pure by having sacrificed the lower ego. The little ego says, I'm right, I'm cool, and this is mine. We sacrifice that ego and that attachment, and then we become filled with sattva. And then by acting in sattva, we come closer and closer to that complete union where we can ultimately let go.
Swamiji, a question from Nilima from Delhi.
Namaste, Nilima.
In the 4th chapter, we are worshipping the sun. Are Shiva and Surya Deva one and the same?
Yes, Nilima. There is only one God. There is only one divinity. You are one woman, and sometimes you're a mother, and sometimes you're a daughter, and sometimes you're a sister, and sometimes you're a devotee. Sometimes you're a friend, and sometimes you're a nurse, and a chauffeur, and a cook, and a cleaner, and you have so many functions, one woman. And yet you're one. Shiva is the consciousness of infinite goodness, and sometimes he is the illuminator, and sometimes he is the light of wisdom, and sometimes he is the warmth of devotion, sometimes he is a she, and he enters into every soul of existence. And that soul of existence is the Shiva within you. And oh Shiva, you are great. You are one without a second. You are great. In truth, you are great. You are great indeed. So yes, Nidima, Shiva and Surya are the same in the Vedas. Now Surya actually represents a distinguishable attribute, which is distinguished from other forms of divinity. But where one God is present, they're all present. So it's impossible to invite Srima to dinner without setting a place for Swami too. They're all the same. All the gods are the same. Where one of the gods is present, they're all present. So you can call any one of the gods and they'll all come. And they bring the goddesses with them. And you call any one of the goddesses, they'll bring all the gods with you.
Swamiji, a question from Dilip from Florida.
Namaste, Dilip.
He's referring to verse 8 in this chapter, Swamiji.
Yes.
Can you please explain the references to the Nadis, Ida and others in this chapter? In verse 8.
Yes. Dilip, it says when we inhale, and we always, when we practice pranayama, we inhale through the ear, which is the left nostril, and the pingala is the right nostril, and that is the exhalation. And now here we are inhaling light. And go ahead and try it. Just close your eyes, close your right nostril, and through the left nostril, inhale illumination. And bring that illumination up into the Agya chakra and make it brighter. And make it brighter, bring it up into the Sahasrara and make it brighter. Now follow it down and bring it into the Vishuddha and into the Anahat and into the Manipur and bring it down a little lower into the Swadhisthana and then into the Muladhara. And pretty soon your entire temple is filled with light. And bring that up from the Muladhara to the Swadhisthana. And from the Swadhisthana to the Manipur. And bring from the Manipur into the Anahat. And from the Anahat into the Vishuddha. And from the Vishuddha bring it up into the Agya chakra. Swirl it around a couple of times in the Sahasrara. And then bring it out from the Pingala. And Dilip, that is what the system of pranayama consists of. We take a sensation of dharana, and we take that in this chapter, in the form of illumination. Luminous light, as bright as you can imagine. And bring it through your system and let it illuminate every corner inside your temple.
Swamiji, a question from Papia from Pennsylvania again.
Namaste, Papia.
This is from chapter 2, Swamiji.
Yes, please.
It says, verse 21 refers to the birth of the supreme divinity. But anything subject to birth is subject to death. Could you please explain?
No, it's not talking about birth. In verse 21, it says, those whose lives are illuminated with the rise of the radiance of divine light joyously proclaim, the gods are bound to serve those who know the supreme divinity in this form as the one indivisible being. Now we're talking about the manifestation of supreme divinity. Not the birth of supreme divinity. The supreme divinity is omnipresent, omnipotent. He's eternal. He's immutable. He'll never change. He'll never go away. But 3/4 of him are unmanifest. 1/4 of him manifests, so that we have perceivable existence. The samsara, the ocean of all. The sara of some, of all the ocean, all objects and relationships, all individual, distinguishable forms. Nam, and Rup. We're not talking about the birth of Supreme Divinity, we're talking about manifestation of Supreme Divinity.
Swamiji, a question from Angel from Georgia.
Namaste, Angel Ma.
What's the difference between the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body?
Very, very good question, Angel. Thank you very much. The gross body is anything you can know through your senses. That means you can see it, you can hear it, you can taste it, you can feel it, you can smell it. That's called the gross body. You can feel it. The subtle body is you close your senses, you close your eyes, you close your ears, and you can see it inside. And that's subtle because you're only seeing the picture of it in your mind. There is no tangible reality outside. It's all inside. And that's the subtle body. It's all inside. And the causal body is when you take all of those thoughts and take them to their origin, to their very source, where all the thoughts are one and you can't distinguish them. But you know they came from someplace, what we call the prime mover unmoved. That was Aristotle's words, not mine. That's where they're all one with God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And that's the causal body, where all the individual forms become one. And they exist in oneness, but they have no individuality. We take them out of the oneness and make a concept about them, make an idea about them. And then we open up our senses and look outside, and there is an object which corresponds to the idea. And that's the difference, Angel, between the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body.
Swamiji, I have a question on verse 15 in this chapter, Swamiji. This is about nourishing the children.
Yes.
It says, as children nourished by that food, it is necessary to plant the seeds of that wealth for future generations. What would be a good description of our duty towards the children or the future generation, especially in the context that many of them are not interested in wisdom?
Oh, but Angel is, and Sam is, and Sebastian is, and Shasha is, and what we are doing right now is plowing the fields and planting the seeds. And not making any demand that children must come and pick this fruit, but we're making it available to them. We're putting all of this knowledge in a form that people in the future, just as we came and were able to pick the fruits from the seeds that they planted, the next generations will come in the future and they will be able to pick the fruits from the seeds that we have planted. And thank you so much for your sincerity and for for honoring us with your attention.
No further questions at this time, Swamiji.
Just we are doing. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow, chapter 5 is a little bit long. Chapter 4 was a little bit shorter, but chapter 5, I know there are some short verses within it, but it does have 161 verses in it. And if we are able to go through them all, then we'll take questions about them probably on Monday. So as we go through, tomorrow is Friday, we'll take questions about them on Monday. So as we go through, please write down your questions And Srini Baba will save them all, and then as soon as we complete, we'll get through the questions as quickly as we possibly can. This is a very fabulous chapter. This is one called the Namakam. And it's called the Namakam because I bow and I bow. See, the first chapter we said, hey, let me have a sankalpa like Shiva does. In the second chapter we said, hey, Shiva's this Purusha. He's full, complete, and perfect everywhere. In the third chapter we said, Shiva, you come as Indra, the ruler, the general of the army. You're going to help us to fight all of the limitations and get rid of all the limitations and expand our horizons. And then in the fourth chapter we said, okay, Shiva, you come as Suri of the light of wisdom. You illuminate our darkness. You fill us with wisdom. You will bring all the gods. And now in the fifth chapter we're going to say, Shiva, we bow to you. Namo Namaha. Namaste.